So let's talk about how to forgive yourself for past mistakes that you've made. It's so important to learn self-forgiveness because holding on to past mistakes can really limit your personal growth and your happiness. And you can't go forward living like that, especially if you're trying to grow and become a better person. Learning to forgive yourself is going to be a key component in learning self-compassion and self-respect. It so happens, especially when we feel bad about ourselves and lack that self-respect, that we can start feeling bad about our past choices rather than trying to make our futures better. So today, let's talk about some practical steps that you can do to help free yourself from that guilt and embrace a fresh start. So the first step is to acknowledge the mistake fully. You need to really reflect on whatever has happened really honestly. And the key is to not just look at the situation from how you perceived it, but for what it actually was. So whatever happened, it's a really good idea to write it down somewhere. It could be in a notes app, it could be journaling, it could be anywhere. But just getting it down on paper separates yourself from what actually happened so you can see it more clearly. You need to get some distance from it. Next, you need to own what you did or why you're feeling guilty without any shame, because the shame is what is holding you back. You can't sit there and think, I'm a bad person, I'm unworthy, because that is not going to help the situation. It's not going to change the past, and it's not going to help you grow in the future. So separate yourself from those labels that you're thinking about yourself. Because when it comes down to it, everybody makes mistakes. We are all human. Nobody is perfect. We're not robots. So you got to understand that making mistakes is a human quality, a human flaw, maybe, I don't know. But it's really normal and sometimes unintentional. It really is just part of being human, and that can suck sometimes, but that's how we grow. So that means step 2 is about eliminating and challenging that negative self-talk. We often become our own worst critic, and those self-critical thoughts can be really destructive for our future growth. Not only that, when you start to feel bad about yourself, it limits not only personal relationships, but it can affect your job. It can affect so many things, because how you feel about yourself is going to reflect onto other people, onto other situations. So whenever you have these negative thoughts about yourself, thinking how you're a bad person or whatever, you just need to separate yourself. There are a number of ways you can do this. I like to write things down, but you can just recognize the thought and make it go away. Think it like, imagine that it's in like a balloon or a bubble, and that negative thought that you had about yourself is just going to go away. Maybe you can keep it close by so you can examine it later, but you just need to separate it from yourself somehow. Get it down on paper, put it in a bubble or a balloon, somehow separate that negative thought about how you're feeling right now. And of course, you need to replace that with something. So positive affirmations are the best way to do it. You can say things like, I'm capable of growth. This is a learning experience. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Mistakes are a normal part of the human experience. And it's a really good idea to start saying these positive affirmations on a daily basis. You can put them on sticky notes around the house, on your mirror in the bathroom, or you can set up text messages or alarms or reminders to yourself throughout the day. I like to do that on my phone. So every now and then a random message will pop up to remind myself that I have to reflect on the positive rather than the negative. I mean, step 3 is about learning from that experience. Here, you've got to focus on your growth rather than the guilt of what happened in the past. You want to see the mistakes that you've made as learning opportunities and not roadblocks. So a good idea, again, is to self-reflect on this and really analyze what you learned from the experience and how it's going to make you a better person in the future. Because you wouldn't feel guilty if you didn't want to grow and learn from this experience. It's the simple fact that people who don't care if they've hurt people or don't care if they've done bad things in the past, they don't look at it as a learning experience and they don't feel bad or guilt. So the fact that you are feeling bad or feeling guilty about something that you did means that you're capable of this growth. So step 4 is about practicing self-compassion techniques on a daily or weekly or a regular basis. So whenever that fits into your schedule. A really good visualization technique is to actually close your eyes, put on some soft music if you like, or a meditation, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Close your eyes and pretend that you're forgiving yourself. Go back to the situation, have the past version of you and the current version of you, and have the current version of you forgive the person of the past. So almost like you're mothering or giving that love and compassion to yourself, but the self from the past that made the mistake, because you're a different person now. So treat yourself like your best friend. Like you would give compassion to your best friend, someone in your family. So give that compassion to yourself. Give yourself a hug in this visualization or anything that's going to soothe you and make you feel better. It only needs to be about 5 minutes or even less. Sometimes you can even do this in the shower while the water is running over you. That can be really soothing. But the important thing is to forgive your past self. Your current self is going to forgive your past self. And like we discussed before, start being kind to yourself every single day. So with those simple self-care practices, anything that makes you feel good about yourself, even just taking a few minutes to affirm that self-worth and to say that you're worthy and that it was a mistake and you're not that person. You just need to keep up that compassion on a regular basis or when you're not feeling great at any time you like with those positive affirmations and actions. Next, step 5 is to embrace that growth mindset. You've got to reframe those mistakes as stepping stones towards a better future because every misstep that we have, no matter what it is, can lead to personal growth. And you should be totally looking at it that way. A good way to start doing this is to start setting new goals for the future. Little small goals, doesn't matter what they need to be. But setting those small achievable goals is going to reaffirm that forgiving mindset that you've got, that new forgiving mindset of yourself, and healing those thoughts about yourself. If you don't want to do a visualization technique to let go of the past guilt, you can actually do a physical ritual of some kind. This is especially important if you can't fix or apologize or do anything to make the situation better because the person that you did something to or the situation is something that you can't rectify, but you still want to do something to physically manifest that forgiveness in yourself. One thing you can do is like go to a river, a fast moving, streaming river somewhere, and actually talk to the water, your situation, and watch it just flow away. Water is going to be constantly coming and going, and it's going to just wash away that guilt. And you can even touch the water, put your hand in it, to symbolize that guilt is like flowing away. It's like moving past you. You can just write the situation down on a piece of paper and then just tear it up, which will kind of symbolize letting it go. Or you might want to burn it, although be careful with that. We don't want to create any fires in our apartments. That's not a good thing to do. But some sort of ritual, some sort of closure ritual. And number 7 is just to embrace you're human. We are all a work in progress. We all make mistakes, every single one of us. Mistakes don't define you as a person. It's what you do afterwards that will define you as a person. Your character comes from how you deal with situations that have happened, not the situation itself. So have a look at what you've actually done after the situation, what small steps you've taken to actually try and rectify the situation, and celebrate those. Instead of dwelling on the actual act of what has happened, start focusing on what you've done since then to try and help the situation or rectify the situation, or even the steps that you've done for yourself to try and facilitate that healing. We're all on a journey and we all want to try and be better people, but it is a journey. We're all human. So just know that you do deserve to forgive yourself. You deserve to let go of the past and step into a future of self-compassion and growth. If you have gone through something, let me know in the comments about how you've overcome it and how you're starting to grow as a person and how you're feeling better about the whole situation. Because we are all going through situations where we haven't been our best selves in the past, but that is not going to define who we are now and going forward. I hope this video has helped. I'll see you in the next one.